Most people think a gifted baby is easy to recognize, the one who speaks first, claps on cue, and hits every milestone ahead of schedule. But what if that belief is completely wrong? What if the babies most likely to develop extraordinary intelligence look nothing like what we expect? The ones who cry too much, sleep too little, and quietly overwhelm every parent who loves them, not because something is broken, but because something inside them is already running faster than the world around them. Neuroscience has confirmed something most parents are never told. The first signs of a very high IQ don't look like early speech or rapid development. They look like problems. They look like red flags, and without knowing what to watch for, you will miss every single one. Developmental psychologists who study infant cognition say the most common error parents make is measuring intelligence through performance. Who babbles earliest, who develops fastest, who seems most impressive in the obvious ways. But the real markers live deeper. They hide in behaviors most parents dismiss, misread, or quietly worry about. Behaviors labeled fussiness, sensitivity, or developmental concern. Today, that is about to change. Here are 10 behaviors that silently reveal a baby with an exceptionally high IQ. Sign 1. Extended visual fixation. Most babies glance at an object, then move on. Their attention cycles quickly, and that is perfectly normal. But some babies lock on to something, a shadow on the ceiling, a pattern on the wall, your face, and hold that gaze for minutes, unblinking. You might wave your hand to check if they're even responding. Psychologists call this extended visual fixation, one of the earliest documented markers of high cognitive processing. The baby isn't absent, the brain is intensely active. It is analyzing depth, contrast, structure, and pattern at a level most infant brains simply don't yet attempt. High IQ infants need significantly more visual input to feel cognitively complete. A quick glance isn't enough. They need to fully understand what they see before they move on. Sign 2. Intense, unexplained crying. This one is hard to hear because you've been told it's colic, sensitivity, or simply a difficult temperament. But early childhood neuroscience tells a very different story. Neurologically advanced infants have a measurably lower sensory threshold. Their nervous system detects far more than an average baby's. Ambient sound, light shifts, the emotional tension in a room, the subtle stress carried in your voice. Their brain hasn't yet built the filters needed to manage that input. So every sensation arrives at full intensity. Every emotional current in the environment lands on them completely. Yes, they cry more, but not because something is wrong, because they feel everything more deeply. Their nervous system isn't broken, it is extraordinarily sensitive. And that sensitivity is the foundation of emotional intelligence, creative thought, and deep social awareness. Think about how often and how easily we mislabel this as a problem. Sign 3. Resistance to sleep. Most parents assume a baby who fights sleep is simply uncomfortable or overtired. But sleep researchers who study gifted children have discovered something striking. High IQ infants spend significantly more time in REM sleep, the active dreaming phase, than average infants do. Their brains are processing far more. This is why they resist falling asleep, wake repeatedly through the night, and appear mentally switched on long past the point of exhaustion. They are not fighting sleep out of stubbornness. Their brain is running processes most infant brains simply aren't running yet. Disturbed sleep in an advanced baby is not a failure. It is evidence of intense, extraordinary mental activity. Sign 4. Intense preference for specific people. Most babies warm up to any calm person who holds them gently, but some babies are immediately deeply particular. They study faces. They respond differently to different people, not based on familiarity, but based on something they are reading far beneath the surface. They sense emotional energy and react with striking accuracy. This is not attachment anxiety. This is early social cognition. The baby is reading people, picking up on emotional cues, tonal shifts, and behavioral patterns in a way that requires a level of perceptual intelligence most adults don't consciously apply. When a baby rejects someone perfectly kind to everyone else, consider this: the baby may have noticed something no one else did. Sign 5. Frustration before expected age. You place a toy in front of the baby. Brief engagement. Then comes frustration, intense and building. Most people assume the toy is broken or the baby is simply tired. But here's what's actually happening. The baby's cognitive expectation exceeded the toy's response. Their brain predicted a specific outcome. The toy didn't deliver it. The resulting frustration is a direct signal of advanced executive function and early causal reasoning. High IQ infants develop cause and effect understanding earlier and more sharply. They expect the world to work in precise ways. When it doesn't, the frustration isn't just emotion, it's intelligent feedback.
Stop here for a moment. Look at what we've described: excessive crying, disrupted sleep, emotional hypersensitivity, intense frustration, and selective social bonding. These are the traits that fill parenting forums with worry. These are behaviors that earn labels: difficult, high needs, anxious. But what if the label was always wrong? What if difficult was simply another word for deeper? The most important thing you can do for a cognitively advanced infant is not to manage their intensity. It is to understand what that intensity is actually telling you. Sign 6. Deferred imitation. Most babies imitate in the moment. A smile returned, a sound echoed. But some babies watch you with careful focus, absorb what they observe, and reproduce it days later in the right context with unusual precision. Psychologists call this deferred imitation, a behavior requiring working memory, temporal awareness, and intentional recall, a powerful early marker of high-functioning cognitive architecture. They are not just copying, they are learning the world and carefully filing it away for later.
Sign 7. Deep pattern obsession. Most babies enjoy novelty, new colors, new sounds, new faces. But some babies become intensely absorbed in patterns. The same book, the same sequence, the same object examined over and over. Parents often worry about this. Professionals sometimes flag it. But in many high IQ infants, this repetition reflects a specific and sophisticated process. The brain is building internal models of how things work. The repetition is not meaningless. It is systematic hypothesis testing, conducted by a brain that needs certainty before it can move forward. This is the beginning of analytical thinking, and it almost always looks like something to be corrected. Sign 8. Sensitivity to emotional atmosphere. You don't need to argue in front of a high IQ baby. You don't even need to speak. The tension in your posture is enough. The flatness in your voice is enough. The micro-expression you didn't even realize you made is enough. Research on infant emotional perception shows that cognitively advanced babies display measurable stress responses to adult emotional tension far earlier and far more intensely than their peers. They are not oversensitive. They are precisely, extraordinarily calibrated. Sign 9. Early signs of self-awareness. Most babies begin showing self-recognition around 18 to 24 months, but some infants display earlier, quieter signals. They notice that their cry brings you to them. They notice that their reach changes what surrounds them, and they begin deliberately, methodically, to experiment with this understanding. Psychologists call this early theory of agency, the recognition that one's own actions produce outcomes. It is the cognitive seed from which self-directed learning, independence, and abstract reasoning eventually grow. When you see a baby experimenting intentionally with cause and effect, you are watching the architecture of a powerful mind beginning to form. This is the final sign, and perhaps the most overlooked. Most babies in a quiet moment simply rest, face soft, body still, briefly at ease. But some babies go silent in an entirely different way. Their eyes move slowly, their expression shifts. Something is being processed, sorted, connected. The silence has texture and depth. It has weight. Parents who have noticed this often describe it the same way. It's like they're thinking about something I can't see. They are. Look closer. Intelligence in its earliest form does not announce itself. It does not perform on schedule or impress on demand. It cries too much. It sleeps too little. It stares at things no one else seems to notice. It feels everything more deeply than the world around it expects. It hides in exactly the places we are most likely to call problems. The next time you see a baby who is overwhelmed, intense, and difficult to soothe, just look more carefully. Because what you might be looking at is not a problem in need of fixing. It is a mind, quietly in the process of becoming something extraordinary. And what it needs, above all else, is not correction. It is simply to be understood.